up, Why
What is up?
This is Jayla.
And this is Shay.
And we're from the
Ask Yourself Why Not podcast.
The place you stop asking yourself why.
And you start asking yourself, why not?
Yes.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Good day.
Good week, good month, good year.
Yes.
It's almost March when we're recording this.
I know. I think everybody is starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Not that winter's doesn't have its benefits and stuff, but it is nice to see the days getting longer.
Well, it has its own. It's supposed to be like a time of rest.
Yeah.
Right. But then when you're resting and you're resting and you're resting, it's like
I'm ready to
okay,
I'm ready to go.
But I noticed in the mornings, even when it's still dark out before the sun comes up, I'm hearing birds.
Yes.
And I think I almost cried yesterday hearing birds.
Yes.
When I was going to the yoga studio.
That is like a great sign. And then the mornings have been lighter and the days are getting longer. I noticed it was like 6:30 the other day and it was still relatively light outside.
Yes. And you know what? It is just so welcoming and just, I can't even describe. I know you understand just seeing people walking outside because I mean,
freedom.
We like to still walk in the winter.
We did this morning,
but you really don't see a lot of people out. But I remember, I think it's funny. It goes from winter, and then when you start getting that warm weather, it'll be like barely 50. And people are like outside in shorts
and gardening.
But they have their kids out and, and it's like once we hit spring where it's consistently like in the 60s, the nicer weather, 50s is like freezing. Everyone's inside. But it's like that first little temperature shift where everyone's like, oh, shorts and, t-shirts, when in reality, it's still pretty chilly. But just having that like mindset of we can be outside without winter gloves, winter hats,
all of the things.
It's just life changing.
It's like freedom. It feels like you're breaking free from something. Alex and Davis last weekend went to a Columbus Crew game. If you don't know what that is, that's the professional soccer game
outside.
In Columbus, Ohio, and it was outside and it was an evening game.
Oh
okay,
gosh.
So like mindset wise going into that, everybody was like real negative. We're like, what in the world?
What were you thinking?
What were we doing this game? But Alex said, he goes, do you know? He was like, I looked around. He was like, everybody was tailgating as if it was like 70 degrees outside. People just had their ski stuff on.
It's like a mindset thing.
So he looked around. He's like, screw it. I'm going to have a beer. Like I'm just going to relax and enjoy myself. And they ended up having a good time.
Well, even with us, with COVID, if you remember, we both were like, oh, winter, like we're going to have to start running on treadmills like inside. And we kind of shifted our mindset and started meeting. And I remember some of the mornings we would meet.
It was freezing.
And it would be like 1 degree out.
I remember getting those, like we would have boots on and they had those like little things you could put over top of them so you didn't slip on the ice.
Yeah.
They were like, you know what I mean?
I even went out and bought a pair of like trail shoes.
Yes, I did too.
And you know what? We did go on a walk this morning. It was about 35 degrees.
It was lovely.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a full jog yet. I'm not ready for all that. But it was nice. Shay complimented the stars and it was a nice walk.
And I want to compliment us too, because I think our past selves would have made ourselves run this morning.
Oh, yeah.
And now we're like, you know what? It's just nice to be able to get out and enjoy a nice walk.
It's just
get some
nice
steps
to get
in.
out, you know? And truth be told, I did not want to get out of bed this morning, but I did. Go me. And we just
excited.
Celebrate that.
Heck yeah. That's a high five worthy moment right there.
It is. So basically, embrace all seasons, but we are looking forward to spring. And I'm sure our listeners will relate.
Do you have any like good goals for spring? Mine is to just continue to get like more steps.
Mine's just to get outside and more walking. There for a while when I hurt my Achilles before it was full blown winter in the fall. I don't know if you remember, but I used to take my dogs to Ogleby every single day, and we walked.
I love an Ogleby.
We walked 3 miles every single day. My little dogs and I have little Shih Tzu.
They probably love that.
Yes, but their little legs are like. I mean, they're probably like 6 inches. Like
they're wee little.
Yes, but I took my dogs outside for a walk yesterday, and they were just little puppies. They were so excited. So
every time I say that, like, let's go on a walkie to Orzo, it is so cute because they do get so excited, and they're not wrong. Well, it's great to be able to get out and
for
walk.
a while. I wouldn't say walk. because they get excited. So I would tell Brent like, hey, I'm going to take them on a W. But now I've said that so much, they know what a W is. So now I had to change my lingo altogether.
Animals. Did you have any good quotes? We're going to be talking about not being so hard on ourselves.
Oh, I mean, we could all hear something like that.
Yeah, I think that's a constant reminder that we need. We're going to just give some strategies to help overcome that, and then some science behind why we are hard on ourselves. Have you had any good quotes that have gotten you lately? I feel like you're always good for those.
I'm always sending them, but man, none are jumping out. Do you have one? I'm going to see if I saved one.
I'm looking here. I like this one. It says, don't be too hard on yourself. There are plenty of people willing to do that for you. Love yourself and be proud.
My gosh, yes.
Be proud of yourself and everything that you do, even the mistakes. It means that you're trying. And I think that is like such a good mindset.
Isn't that true? And here, I'll feed off of that. I found one, and it just so happens that it works with this. Talk to yourself like you talk to someone you love. Treat yourself like you treat someone you love. Allow yourself to become someone you love. That gives me chills.
Me too. I mean, I think it doesn't happen overnight because we've had such a habit. I think even from the time we were little of just being critical of ourselves and not receiving compliments as well as we should. Like when somebody gives you a compliment, especially from the time we were little, we were sort of taught not to accept it and just to be like, oh, this? Oh, stop. This is blah, blah, blah.
You just don't receive it.
Yeah, we just don't. But so it takes a little while to build this. But once you start to build it, it really does change your life for the better, right?
Yeah.
So why do we talk to ourselves like we are unhinged mean girls? What do you think on that?
Well, I think we're just we're built to be our own self-criticizer. I mean, if you think about it, the second we talk a lot about in our workshop about how you really have to pay attention to how you talk to yourself. And I think so more in the morning when you're getting ready, when you're brushing your teeth and you're looking in the mirror and you're really face to face. That's like the time you're like face to face with yourself and you don't have a lot of I mean, you do, but you really have a moment to take notice. Really pay attention to how you talk to yourself, because I feel like a lot of us will, and I still do it, but I catch myself. Maybe think about my to-do list from yesterday, things I didn't get done. Maybe think of the to-do list I have for that day. Maybe check a little peek at my eyebrows and be like, holy crap, girl, get your eyebrows in check. Like, your skin looks thirsty. Drink some more water.
Right.
So I feel like
you might even say like, you shouldn't have eaten that cake yesterday. Yes. Today you're going to eat better.
We're just naturally our own criticizer. And then you add in like social media and all this stuff that we're bombarded with in 2025. It's like, it's like our whole lives are built around comparison, and whether it's we're comparing ourselves and who we think we should be or who we think what we think we should look like, or if we're comparing it with, social media and highlight reels. And it's just, I feel like naturally that's how our days are built.
Yeah, you're right. And we've done in our workshops, we do a lot of research and we listen to a lot of books and podcasts. And it is really interesting when you start to learn about your brain and how it is built more for survival than it is for joy, right? So that critical part of our brain really is there to keep us safe. That's how we're wired, right? That's how we evolved from the time when our environments were less safe to now, right? And so when you're looking at yourself in the mirror and you're saying, how did you not defrost that chicken last night?
Yeah.
How did you eat McDonald's again? Or whatever. Like, look at your hair. Oh my gosh. Do something with yourself. That is all wired to keep us protected and safe, believe it or not. But it doesn't mean that those things are true per se. Like, you can challenge those beliefs because we are gifted with the ability to be able to observe our thoughts as well and choose different ones. And I don't think that's something we learn.
Yeah. And you know what, too, if you think about it, how we talk to ourselves, we would never talk to our friend that way. Ever. Like, I wouldn't be like, Wow.
We wouldn't have friends.
I know. I would be like, wow, Shay, you really failed at your to-do list today.
Shay, are you eating, a Starbucks chocolate chip warmed up cookie again?
Shay, what's your water intake today? Because your skin looks thirsty.
We can't be friends unless you drink more water.
Or like even take a step further and just think of how you talk to yourself and if you would talk to your children that way.
Yeah.
Because I know we're all want to, raise like confident children that feel good in their own skin. Like, can you imagine in the morning looking at your child and being like, you know what? Look at your hair.
Right.
Like, did you, oh crap. I actually do ask Hadley if she brushed her hair today. Maybe I need to stop doing
I do that too, because they have to. And that's part of self, taking care of yourself. Because I have to do that too with my daughter.
Yes.
They have long hair.
Yes. But you guys know what I mean. Like, you wouldn't say, wow, you really failed yesterday.
Yeah.
Because you didn't do everything you wanted to do yesterday.
Right. Exactly. And a lot of our society now, like this negative self-talk can be magnified because we are comparing ourselves even more than we did in the past, because we do have social media, right? We can have a little peek behind the curtain to other people's lives. Like there's the Pinterest world. I remember that. Do you remember when we were all getting married and Pinterest, right? You're looking through and you're looking at those boards and you just have this almost like unrealistic expectation of how things are supposed to be. And if it's not that way, then it wasn't good enough. It's still that way too with like social media all the time. Like just comparing ourselves, right? We're not a good enough mom if we're not making the snack boxes look like they make them look on.
Oh gosh.
On TikTok or whatever.
Well, I will say I was the Pinterest mom before I went back to work.
We'll talk about that a little bit.
I know it is. But you know what? Coming from anyone that's on here that would classify themselves as a Pinterest mom, I did get a lot of joy from it, but it does come with high expectations.
I think we've all done the Pinterest thing for
sure.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think it's more so when you have your shortcomings. How do you react to those, and how do you treat yourself? Do you give yourself self-compassion, or do you criticize yourself? And I think that's the key here. Yep. We can do the snack bags. We can be the Pinterest moms. We can be the fit moms. We can be the overachiever in work. But when you have those times where you're not meeting your expectations, how do you treat yourself?
Right.
Do you criticize, or do you give yourself some self-compassion? And I think that's really, really what you need to focus on.
How do you get from, what do you think is a good way to get from criticizing ourselves? Because I think we've both been there.
Yes.
Like, especially mine was really heightened after I had my two kids and they were toddlers. Really hard on myself about not being present enough. I remember like reading all the articles and it was like, put your phone down, be present with your kids. Yeah. I'd find myself on the phone because I was like working mom, and I'd be like, no, this is my time with my kids. And then I would just be hard on myself for not being enough in all the areas. How do you do it?
Well, one thing that helps me, I just went through this because in January we were sick. And I literally physically, all of the above, cannot do all that I do because we were sick. My kids were sick, and we were having snow days on top of snow days on top of snow days. My kids were home. And you know what? I went through the first reaction of judging myself because I have a lot I want to do. It's January. I have all these New Year goals. I have all these whatever. But you know what really helped me shift is when I'd go down those things like, oh my God, my kids don't have school again today. I'm so behind. I can't do anything. Like, I can't work with, my 5-year-old like pulling me different directions. And I finally said, everybody's in the same state.
Yeah.
If you can like relate to other people and just really understand that you're not the only one that's struggling, and it has a sense of like belonging to people, community. And I kept telling myself over and over again, even when I would speak negative about it, I think you can recall, I'd be like, man, I can't get anything done. And then I would say, everybody's like this, everybody, everyone I know that's a working mom is in the same, like feeling the same stress as me. We're all in this together. Like we're all, you know what I mean? Nobody's able to do everything that they can do. And I think
That's awareness.
Bringing yourself back to that. I'm not the only person that's with this, and you can be relatable to other people, even if you're not physically literally speaking it out loud, like, hey, we're into this together, Shay. You're sucking like I'm sucking.
Yeah.
It's just knowing in your head that you're not alone. And I feel like, you know, that can stop you before you tread even further in thinking negatively about yourself and what you think you have with as far as issues and problems with not doing all the things you need to do.
That's a really good one. I heard one that was kind of similar the other day, and this all comes with creating awareness too. And I think that's important. Like, take a moment to pause and just kind of observe what kind of thoughts you're having, observe what's going on in your house. Like Jayla said, observe what's going on in the community so that you can kind of have awareness around if your thoughts are out of control around criticism. But this was really cool. Think of somebody that you think is a positive person, right? It could be like in the self-development world. It could be an athlete. It could be in your own family.
Yeah.
Take yourself and sit down and try to think as if they were thinking, if that makes sense. Like, put your hat on. You could say, okay, right now I am going to be thinking like Mel Robbins. What would Mel say about this situation? And it takes like the personal attack of you out of it. And you can kind of walk yourself through it and go, okay, well, she would say this and she would say that. And it takes the pressure off of it. But like a really quick one is what we said earlier. If you wouldn't say this to like your kids or your best friend, maybe check yourself and look at yourself and think of one positive thing that you like about yourself and replace it with that.
And you know what? Let's just think about it. You're probably doing better than you think you are anyway. You know what I mean?
We all are.
I know myself current day makes way healthier decisions than I did in college than I did. You know what I mean? So kind of think about the habits that you've built too. You know, like start thinking of, you know, make yourself think of positive things. You can change your freaking thoughts, peeps.
That is the thing, is building awareness. I remember when we first got into this, Oprah Winfrey, she always talked about awareness is the key to life. And I was like, what is awareness? Really just start to notice your thoughts. Give yourself a little bit of space and be like, my gosh, I am so negative on myself today. What is going on? That's fine. Give yourself like empathy.
And if you have a friend, bring awareness around it. I was texting Shay yesterday because I'm like trying to do something out of the box, something different in my life right now. And you're met with those thoughts randomly with,
what am I doing?
What the hell am I doing? Like, what am I doing? And then you instantly have that like fear kind of come over you. But then if you can be aware of it, you can literally laugh it off, because that is literally how I went, the steps I went. I immediately was in this moment where I'm making these plans and I'm taking my plans a step further. And then all of a sudden I was like, what the hell am I doing? What I'm not this person, whatever.
That's your inner critic.
And then I instantly thought, yes, I am this person. Like, it's all going to work out. And I just laughed it off. And the me 10 years ago would have been stuck in that, what the hell am I doing? And then I would have started thinking thoughts to support, you shouldn't be doing this.
And then your brain would start to filter your world to support those negative thoughts. And then you'd be like, I got to get out of this.
Yes. But in reality, what I'm doing is creating something that will bring me joy. So you once you start to really notice and shift, I find myself laughing at it a lot, because I'm like, come on.
I know. So I'm with you. So step one would be notice the inner critic, right? Is this actually trying to help you, or is it just being a mean girl, right? Is it a Regina George in your head right now? And the step two would be talk to yourself like a friend, which is what you did yesterday. If you don't have a friend that you feel comfortable sharing an idea with, then think about somebody you admire and how they would talk to you through this.
And debunk your reasons for why.
Yes. And I will also say sometimes just adding a third step. So first one, we have notice the critic. Second, we have talk to yourself like a friend. Third would be just saying this mantra: everything's always working out for me in my favor. Everything's always working out for me. Even just saying that now and I'm not stressed about anything in this moment because we're podcasting, it sends a sense of calm from your head to your toe.
Yeah.
So
and just strategies. Change your freaking thoughts. I keep thinking, like, even when I was in that moment yesterday, I texted Shay and I said, these are my reasons of why I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? And then I immediately text you after and debunked those thoughts. I'm like, these are not true.
And these are not true. The debunking that she's doing,
I love debunking myself,
is going to have to be over and over and over again.
Yes.
Because you're going to have many of these moments, especially when you're trying to do something that's out of your comfort zone, or sometimes just living in your daily life. We have had years upon years upon years of looking at ourselves and being critical, right? We've had years of holding ourselves back because of fear. So it's going to take a lot of repetition in the opposite direction to help overcome this. But the cool thing is once you start to cultivate the awareness and notice that inner mean girl, that's where everything can change, because you can start to plug in new thoughts, which will change your whole brain and will change your whole worldview, right? And you'll start to feel better. So I feel better after having this conversation.
And honestly, we were not even supposed to have this conversation today. We were supposed to have a guest on. Not sure what happened.
Stay tuned.
But that's okay. And we kind of mindset shift, and here we are. Yep. So, I'm basically just proud of ourselves because we've really worked hard to really have awareness around our thoughts and shifting. And if you're like, oh, what are they talking about? Or I want more information on that. Or I would love to, talk with them on what they're talking about. Reach out to us.
Yep. And you can go to our website. We have a wonderful free tool. It's called the Brave Builder. If you go to askyourself-whynot.com, it's a video that we created to talk to you around rewiring your negative thoughts and replacing them with some positive mantras that are shown through science to help rewire your subconscious, which is where you operate from. Ooh, and I did want to share this. I was telling Jayla yesterday, we were talking about like the repetition thing, right? So you've got your awareness, you're choosing better thoughts now. You got to repeat it, because if you're, say you've decided and you're like, okay, I'm going to talk to myself nice, right? But you're not really feeling any change. It's because you believe it on a conscious level, but your subconscious, which
still wants to fight with you.
Yeah, 95% of how you act in the world is still programmed negatively, right? So working on just keeping and continually choosing those better thoughts over and over and over again will rewire the subconscious.
Yes.
And before you know it, you'll be operating from that space.
Or just, debunking. Question your negative thoughts. Like, hey, is this really freaking true? Why do I believe this is true? And start debunking those. I love debunking myself. I love proving myself wrong.
And aren't you proud of yourself from where we started 4 or 5 years ago?
Aren't you proud of yourself?
I am and I'm proud of every single listener on here. You guys are taking time for yourself today to get curious and to learn and to grow.
Yes, I'm excited to listen to this episode, even though it's myself.
Fun fact, I do listen to every episode.
I do too. And then we'll text each other and be like, this was good.
I'm like, one thing Jayla and I have been doing too is we're debunking our...
Shoot.
What?
I forgot to send you that quote or that thing yesterday. I'm going to do it today.
We're debunking our, I guess, belief or... our belief that this podcast couldn't grow. So we are growing it, baby. We are putting our subconscious into this. We're putting our dollars into it.
Yes. And if you are want to help us grow, you can like, share, comment, send to your friend, post on your social channels, just everything.
Rating, reviewing.
We have a lot of great ideas as far as what we can do with a company or an organization as far as podcast and streaming your content, as well as our workshops. So please reach out. We have a lot of great ideas.
We do. And speaking of great ideas, we're kind of working on setting up all the vendors and experience stations for our big event called Empower Fest on May 17th. It'll be at Waterfront Hall in Wheeling, West Virginia here. We've got pretty much all the vendors locked in. I have a few that still want to come. So we might have a little more than 10 vendors. And we have about 15 or so experience stations locked in, and we're being picky about the last 5.
Yes.
So we want to make sure that we set it up to curate an amazing day for all of you. So
Alrighty.
stay tuned.
Well, do you have a why not of the day?
Yeah, I would say why not do some research and figure out the best way to create more awareness in your life around what's going on in your brain. That would be step 1.
Yep. I would say why not debunk your own negative narrative about yourself?
Good one. Yep.
Because you're amazing. There is no one in this world like you, and there'll never be anyone like you.
Yep. And look at all of the hard days that you've survived. And how when you're in those hard days, we're hard on ourselves, we worry, we have fear. It does nothing for us. So just be a little bit more gentle on yourself. And what's our mantra? Everything's always working out for me in my favor. So
this is the
Ask Yourself Why Not podcast.
I did not say that right. Believe it to receive it, baby.
We'll see ya.